When Dr. Elena Rivera was a young medical student, her dream was simple: to help people live longer and healthier lives. But by the year 2045, the meaning of that dream had changed completely. Advances in biotechnology, artificial intelligence, and genetic engineering had turned longevity into a science of optimization. People were no longer just adding years to life, they were adding life to years. Elena worked at the Institute for Human Renewal, a global research center that studied ways to slow, stop, and even reverse aging. The Institute's motto was, "Age is optional." Through her research, she saw patients whose biological age dropped by decades after taking cellular repair treatments. Nanobots repaired damaged organs, and personalized diets adjusted in real time based on genetic feedback. The world was witnessing the birth of a new era, one where death itself was being postponed. However, not everyone celebrated. Critics questioned whether humanity was prepared for such power. If people could live to 120 or 150 years, what would happen to the balance of resources, jobs, and generations? Would immortality belong only to the rich? Elena herself wrestled with those questions. Her father, a retired teacher, often said, "Life is precious because it ends." She admired the wisdom in his words. Yet she couldn't ignore the possibilities her research opened. Could longer life bring deeper understanding, or would it make humanity forget the meaning of time? As the first clinical trials of a major longevity breakthrough approached, Elena realized that her work was no longer just about biology. It was about philosophy, the question of what it truly means to live. The following year, the world witnessed the approval of Rejuvenex, the first widely available longevity treatment that could reverse cellular aging. People lined up across continents, eager to reset their biological clocks. The media called it the second birth of humanity. Elena became one of the lead scientists responsible for monitoring long-term effects. At first, results were extraordinary. Energy levels increased, memory sharpened, and diseases once considered incurable began to fade. Elderly patients danced again. Retired workers returned to industries they once helped build. Humanity had broken a boundary that had defined life for millennia. But soon complications emerged, not medical but moral. The social gap widened. Only the wealthy could afford continuous treatments. Governments debated new population laws. Philosophers questioned whether ending aging might also end empathy. If suffering and mortality were erased, would people still value kindness, humility, and sacrifice? During an ethics forum, a journalist asked Elena, "If you could live forever, would you?" She hesitated. "I think I would rather live fully," she replied. Her words spread worldwide and sparked a new conversation. That longevity without purpose was just extended existence. In her private notes, Elena reflected that humans had always chased progress. Fire, medicine, space travel, but rarely stopped to ask why. The future of longevity, she wrote, would depend not on science alone but on character. Whether the next century would be one of wisdom or vanity would be determined not by what people could do, but by what they chose to do. 10 years later, society looked very different. The average lifespan had reached 115. Entire generations coexisted, grandparents, great-grandparents, and even their ancestors' peers, all alive in the same era. The economy adapted, careers lasted a century, and education became lifelong. People no longer retired, they reinvented themselves. Elena, now in her 60s but looking barely 40, led a new global initiative called the Ethics of Endurance, dedicated to helping people live meaningfully within this new paradigm. Her team included scientists, philosophers, artists, and psychologists. Their mission was not to extend life further, but to enrich it. One evening, while speaking at a conference, Elena said, "We used to fear death. Now we fear boredom. But the real challenge of longevity is not how long we live, it's how deeply we live." She explained that technology could renew the body, but only reflection could renew the soul. In her later years, she visited her father's grave often. Standing under the same oak tree where he used to read poetry to her, she understood his old words in a new way. Life's beauty had never depended on its length, but on its story. Longevity was a gift, one that demanded responsibility, balance, and gratitude. As the sun set behind the horizon, Elena recorded her final message for the Institute. The future of longevity is not eternal youth, but eternal curiosity. To live well is to keep learning, feeling, and caring no matter how many years we are given.